Hi, my name is Lana Marconi. I'm a registered traditional Chinese medicine acupuncturist. During my schooling of traditional Chinese medicine, TCM for short, I learned acupuncture, I learned about diet, I learned about nutrition, herbs, tuina massage, and Qigong. Qigong can be divided into exercises, standing and sitting, for example, and it can also be categorized into a healing therapy using energy or Qi, QI. In this video, I will demonstrate a simple Qigong therapy session that balances the yin and yang meridians as well as the 5 yin organs and various acupuncture points. Generally speaking, the recipient is left feeling renewed and harmonized. If you are going to do this technique on another person, do let that person know that it involves non-touching and touching, especially in the heart area, and ask the person's permission to touch them. The person will let you know if they are comfortable with that or if they just prefer non-touching. You must obtain consent before following through with these techniques. Begin by centering yourself. Take a few deep breaths and align yourself. Softly gaze at the person in front of you, your patient. Notice their breathing, if it's irregular, short, or deep. And notice any structural or muscular conditions, as well as any energetic patterns, if you can see subtle energy. Next, using the back of your palm, sweep along the person's body from head to toe and feel any temperature changes. Cold can indicate an energy blockage, while heat can be indicative of energy excess. This assessment provides you with information about any energetic imbalances in the person's energy field. Sit comfortably behind the patient's head and using non-touch, hold your hands above their eyes. Hold your position anywhere from 3 to 9 breaths. There are several acupuncture points around the eyes and face. In terms of your breathing, as you inhale, you can visualize the breath traveling down the Chong Mai vessel. It's an extraordinary meridian, also called the Sea of Blood. And visualize that breath entering into the lower dantian and filling it up. As you exhale, visualize the breath rising up the Chong Mai vessel to your chest where the energy disperses, such as into your arms and out through your hands. Together, the Chong Mai vessel, the Du channel, the Ren channel, and the Dai Mai belt make up the energetic framework of the human body. Then move your hands over the patient's ears. While there are acupuncture points around the ears themselves are a microsystem in that they are holograms of the whole body in traditional Chinese medicine. Next, touch the top of their head. This is acupuncture point Du 20, or byway, and it's on the governing channel. It's a good point for headaches, agitation, or even poor memory. It's the point of the Sea of Marrow, and it's the meeting point of the governing vessel with the bladder, gallbladder, and sanjiao and liver channels. It can help to raise yang energy in regards to prolapse, for example. Next, place your hands underneath the person's head and grip the skull with your fingertips by the occipital and do some light traction, gently pulling slowly their head towards you, increasing the space between each vertebrae in the spine. And then slowly releasing this extension as though their every vertebrae in their spine is stacking up. Do not do this movement fast and do not do this movement with force. Next, sit along the patient and balance their 3 dantians, upper, middle, and lower. The 3 dantians are each associated with energy, collectively known as the 3 treasures. They include the lower dantian, Jing, located 2 inches below the navel. It is the source of energy which builds the physical body and allows us to develop and use Qi and Shen. The middle dantian, Qi, is located at the heart. It is the energy created from food and air and relates to our emotions and thoughts. The upper dantian, Shen, is located at a center point just higher than the eyebrows. It is related to our spirit and our consciousness. Next comes balancing the energy within the yin organs, starting with the lungs. Gently place 2 hands bilaterally over the anterior lateral aspect of the chest, below the lateral extremity of the clavicle. These are acupuncture points, lungs 1 and 2. The lungs are associated with the element metal. The lungs control breath and energy and assist the heart with the circulation of blood. The Internal Medicine Classic states, energy is the commander of blood. When energy moves, blood follows. Blood is the mother of energy. Where blood goes, energy follows. In addition to controlling breathing, the lungs also control the skin and are responsible for adjusting the body's temperature. Working with the energy of the lungs, you can visualize the color white. Next, place your hands in a T position over the heart. Briefly, the heart represents the fire element. It is called the king of the organs. The Internal Medicine Classic states the heart commands all the organs and viscera, houses the spirit, and controls the emotions. Physiologically, the heart controls the circulation and distribution of blood, and therefore all the organs depend on it for sustenance. Working with the energy of the heart, you can visualize the color red. Place your hands over the liver. The liver meridian represents the wood element. Briefly, when the wood element is balanced, the person is flexible and strong, creative, motivated, adaptable, organized, and even easygoing. When in balance, the person is ungrounded and frustrated, angry and compulsive, and the person has difficulty making decisions. The liver functionally stores and regulates blood. Working with the energy of the liver, you can visualize the color green. Next, place your hands over the spleen. Briefly, the spleen and pancreas control extraction and assimilation of nutrients from food and fluids. They regulate the quantity and quality of blood and circulation and coordinate with the kidneys to control fluid balance throughout the system. Working with the energy of the spleen, you can visualize the color yellow. Now place your hands under the kidneys. The kidneys are associated with the element water. The kidneys are regarded as the body's important reservoir of essential energy. The original prenatal energy, yuan qi, which forms the basis of life, is stored in the kidney organ energy system, which is why the kidneys are also known as the root of life. The kidney organ system also includes the adrenal glands. The kidneys are responsible for filtering waste from the blood and moving it onwards to the bladder for excretion and urination. The kidneys control the growth and development of bones and nourish the marrow, which is the body's source of red and white blood cells. Working with the energy of the kidneys, you can visualize the color dark blue or black. Next, we're going to balance the yin and yang meridians of the legs, starting with the yin meridian first. Gently place one hand on the hip bone or pelvis, even covering the greater trochanter of the femur bone, and place the other hand on the medial knee. In terms of the yin meridians covered on the leg, they include the spleen, liver, and kidney meridians. Then move to the inner knee and inner ankle. Move to the ankle and foot, placing one hand on acupuncture points bladder 68 and kidney 3 and kidney 1. Here you can also do pulsing and gentle traction or even vibration called Zenfa, which helps the joints to adjust on their own. It's a low amplitude technique. It's not forceful. Everything is light and gentle and slow. Make your way up the body on the lateral side by placing one hand on the lateral ankle area and the other hand on the lateral knee area. The yang meridians affected include the stomach meridian, gallbladder meridian, and bladder meridian. Next, place one hand on the knee area and the other hand underneath the iliac crest on the gluteus maximus. You can position your hands so as to pulse, which I would describe as a slight traction moving superiorly and inferiorly. Moving along, place one hand underneath the iliac crest on the gluteus maximus and the other hand underneath the shoulder, covering the shoulder to about C7 or Du14. Du14 is where all the 6 yang meridians meet up, and it is known as the Sea of Qi. Continue to place one hand underneath the shoulder, while the other hand is placed on the outer area of the elbow. We are working on the yang meridian of the arm. Next, place one hand on the elbow and the other hand on the wrist, still staying on the yang part of the arm. Working on the yin meridian channels of the arm, place one hand on the inner wrist and the other hand on the elbow crease. Working on the yin meridian channels of the arm, place one hand on the elbow crease and the other hand on the anterior aspect of the chest, covering acupuncture points lungs 1 and 2 near the deltoid pectoral triangle. Working on the yang meridians with the arm facing downwards, you can also do a gentle traction. Working on the yin meridians of the arm, which is facing upwards, you can also do a gentle traction here. The patient should feel the stretch in the sternocleidomastoid muscle. You can also induce a vibrating manipulation in the arm called Zenfa, which helps the joints to adjust on their own. It's a low amplitude technique. It is not forceful. Next, move to the other leg, starting on the yin area. Gently place one hand on the hip bone or pelvis, even covering the greater trochanter of the femur bone, and the other hand on the medial knee. Then move to the inner knee and inner ankle. Next, move to the ankle and foot area. Place one hand on acupuncture points bladder 60 and kidney 3, and the other hand on kidney 1. Here, you can also do pulsing and a gentle traction, even vibration. Make your way up the body on the lateral side by placing one hand on the lateral ankle area and the other hand on the lateral knee area. The yang meridians affected here include the stomach meridian, gallbladder meridian, and bladder meridian. Next, place one hand on the knee area and the other hand underneath the iliac crest on the gluteus maximus. Place one hand underneath the iliac crest on the gluteus maximus and the other hand underneath the shoulder, covering C7, D14. Moving along to balance the yin and yang meridians of the arm, begin by placing one hand on the shoulder and place the other hand on the outer area of the elbow. The outer part of the arm is yang, while the inner part of the arm is yin. Next, place one hand on the elbow and the other hand on the wrist, still staying on the yang part of the arm. Place one hand on the inner wrist and the other hand on the elbow crease area. Place one hand on the elbow crease and the other hand on the interior aspect of the chest, covering acupuncture points lungs 1 and 2 near the deltoid pectoral triangle. With the arm at about 45 degrees, you can perform a gentle traction movement. You can also induce a vibrating manipulation in the arm, called Zenfa, which helps the joints to adjust on their own. End the process by combing through the patient's energy field. Sit and gaze at the patient's energy field and notice any differences from when you initially started working on them. Stay centered and grounded and give thanks and feel gratitude for the connection.
Okay, I just received amazing energy treatment from Lana, and this was a Qigong energy healing therapy, and it really felt like a tune-up, like energetic alignment of my body, where I first felt like a crown of pearls go on my head, and they felt some warmth and heat, and then it got nice and cool, and I could feel her hands as it moved along my body. And the word that came through as my body wanted to react and jump and do something and go into an action, it was just to be soothed and receive. And the word that came through is calibrate, that each body part received its own unique calibration. This is your job, this is what you do, you stay here, everybody else takes care of their role, and this very cohesive alignment seems to be in a more balanced state in my body, so it feels really harmonic on the left and right side, or masculine and feminine sides, which my right side has had a lot of physical trauma. I walked with a cane for almost 7 years, and so I've felt kind of imbalanced sometimes walking, and then standing up from the treatment, I can actually feel like the weight and pressure of my body on the left and the right side is more balanced. So definitely felt the energetic calibration from the Qigong therapy. Thank you, Lana.